Well, welcome to Amateur Hour 35. Michigan wins the title. Hilton Magic is back as the Cyclones beat number 2 Houston, and Hoi-ball is back in Nebraska. How you boys feeling?
Great.
Feeling good?
How about yourself, Bryant?
Well, more computer issues, but I mean, we could go on another pod just dealing simply about that, dude. But other than that,
that's the IT pod. We'll leave it for that.
Yeah. that too much snow. I was complaining about not having enough in Christmas, and now it's hitting late. It's like now we don't even get the holiday spirit of it. Now it's just snow and it sucks, you know?
Yeah, we've had plenty this week, and there's more coming.
So, that's the unfortunate news. And even worse news is college football is officially over. But before we can even get to the title game and everything, my trivia question will kind of lead into the news story that dropped a couple hours ago. Can you tell me, in order, name the teams that Nick Saban was the head coach of? And the clue is going to be it's 4 college schools and 1 NFL job.
In order, though?
In order. I'm going to make you think about it a little bit.
Michigan State.
Okay.
Is that correct?
That's number 2.
Okay.
The first school he was only at for 1 year.
Central Michigan? Or like
close. I would say it is a MAC school.
Eastern Michigan? What is a Michigan school, right? No. One of the directional Michigans? No?
Toledo.
Bowling Green.
There we go.
Bowling Green?
Toledo.
Oh, Toledo. Dang it.
Yeah. Toledo
and Michigan State. And then LSU.
Yep.
Then he went to Miami Dolphins.
Yep.
And to Bama.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the last one too. Yeah.
And then Iowa State.
Nick Saban. Yeah. Somehow in his lineage, he never ended up at Iowa State.
Matt Campbell's defensive coordinator someday.
Matt Campbell, second best Toledo coach in history behind Matt Campbell.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, Nick Saban announced his retirement today. Ends with 7 national titles here. An official record of 292, 71, and 1 in college. Oddly enough, only 19 and 12 in bowl games and 9 and 5 in the college football playoffs.
Decent.
Some would say that'd be an okay career, a fine one, if you will.
Borderline Hall of Fame, I would say.
It's an okay career. No.
Borderline, yeah.
Yep.
No,
mediocre.
Best to ever do it. I mean, do you guys even have it? Is there even an argument on who else would be better?
No. Schembechler. Hayes.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very, very short list, and it's even, you can make arguments for or against any, once you get to that level, you know?
Yep.
Bear Bryant. So
yeah, I was going to say, yeah, him.
Ironically enough, he has 2 of those best coach awards named after the other biggest name. I always wonder from Alabama fans, I bet you if they're more recent, obviously they go with Saban, but it'd be interesting to hear from lifelong Bama fans that are, 50, 60, 70 that saw Bear. Oh shit, Bear Bryant was probably before that, but you know what I'm getting at. That saw both and give a true, like, who do you think is better?
Yep.
Because
I don't think he would be before that because of the movie Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump played for Bear Bryant, I think.
Let me see here. I'm pulling up Bear Bryant right now. Oh, that's the Bear Bryant Award. Oops. How the hell is there not? Sorry, I'm on Wikipedia trying to pull his history up here. From 58 to 82, when he coached at Alabama.
So really, you'd only need to be 50 years old to remember some of Bear Bryant,
Yeah, to see the end of Bear and then all of Saban.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think there it was a lot. I don't even know if you'd say a lot tougher back in the day. And you could make the only thing I could say that you could go against Saban, like if there's an argument, is he had a much easier path winning titles because like you had to just be a top 4 to be given the chance compared to people just named you the champion back in the day or one of 2.
Yeah.
But he won the BCS and playoff era too. So I mean,
yeah. So that was going to be my question. Like, do you think it's tougher to win national championships now or back in the 70s?
I think probably back in the 70s.
Yeah, and especially if you're a top end, you're competing for the title. I feel like in the 70s, and this is a magical world because we've never been to it, but it feels like it was a more innocent and more like anyone could win. I mean, there are times when Syracuse was dominating in football, and look where they're at now. Same thing with Rutgers, and look where they're at now.
Yeah.
Minnesota, well, now we're getting into the 10s and 20s, but like early on, any school that is just as long as you had a solid coach like Bear Bryant and everything else, you could dominate, and there wouldn't be a SEC that was the dominant conference. It was just, are you undefeated? You're probably the champion at that point,
Yeah, and now I think it's harder depending on who you are. With the money that's thrown around in college football and NIL and collectives, depends on who you are. A little easier for the Alabamas of the today, and a little harder for the Iowa States, or I'm saying.
Yeah, but and now thinking about it, I mean, do you think, because they're going to change the playoffs again, before they change this 12-team playoff to a 16 or 24, whatever it is? Excuse me. Do you think we see a double-digit seed win the title?
I mean, there's a better chance now, obviously, because of this 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you think about it, I mean, a number 10, 11, 12 seed, they're the number 10, 11, 12 team in the nation. They can beat the number 1, 2, 3 team any given day.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I'm excited with this new era is, as long as they're given a chance, if they lose by whatever to Bama, Saban, Kirby, whoever it is, as long as they're given a chance and they lose, it's at least the fairest system that I can think of.
Yep.
But I'm sorry, I'm just trying to pull up because I think it was Penn State, LSU, let's see, 10-11, or I'm sorry, 10-11 would be Ohio State, Arizona, and this is just the final. This isn't what it was before, but Ohio State, Arizona, and then Liberty. Do you think one of those three could have won the whole damn thing?
Ohio State probably had the best shot.
I'd say once you get outside the, Arizona, you're going, okay, that's kind of, a whim and a prayer, but it's like, well, you'd be going against the you'd be going against the fifth team, which would be Bama.
Yep.
Good luck,
Mm-hmm.
Or sixth team, which Oregon, my bad. So,
I mean, Liberty, they got smoked by Oregon. So that ain't happening.
Yeah, no, I didn't say. That's where I wonder how many years as well, speaking of this new team playoff, where they're going to go, we need to get rid of this G5 representation because they're ruining a spot for a deserving Florida that went 12-2, and their losses were Georgia and LSU or something, two quality losses, but they're left out because every other team has quality losses and the SEC got their 6 already in,
Yep.
I think when it comes to that, I'm sure it'll get changed or something, but I've been thinking if they're going to have a 12-team playoff or a 16-team, whatever, if it's 12, right, next year?
Yep.
Yes.
I do think at least the last 2 spots for that should be a G5 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And
there'll be one in there, right?
Yeah. There should be one, but I think there should be 2 just to give, if one's a conference champion of somewhere and then the next best, or another conference champion of somebody who's undefeated, put them in just to see what it can do. And if they realize, hey, this is not working, then go to that thing where a more deserving team that's 11-1 that didn't get in comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Test the waters with 2 and then go from there.
Now you're threatening to try and steal a spot from the Big Ten or the SEC, and they're not going to have that day.
ESPN won't let that happen.
That's fine, but I think it'd be worth seeing because outside of Liberty getting smoked by Oregon, like imagine if they didn't play Oregon and played, say Arizona. Say Arizona was an Oregon spot, or Oregon State or somebody else. Like it could have been actually a game. It could have been something where, like every other game this year, it could have been close.
Yep.
If the 12-team playoff started this year, do you think Iowa gets in? I mean, they were technically the Big Ten runner-up.
No, they would put Ohio State and Penn State in before Iowa.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Not even close. If anyone from that Big Ten West would have ever made it to a 12-team playoff, I would have just said this whole thing's bullshit because why don't we just invite the Sun Belt champ?
Just go back to 4 teams.
Go back to 4. We had it right. Back in my day, we only had 2, and that was the BCS. We had computers tell us.
Yep.
So I don't know how we got on that tangent, but I was kind of really out of the blue for Nick Saban to retire here today. And I did get a kick out of it because everyone is shitting on Coach K because they're just like, wait, you can retire without making a whole year tour about you?
Yeah. Saban did it the right way.
Yeah, just on a random Wednesday, called the team in, I'm done.
As much as we shit on Bama, he did it right.
Yeah. Now, who do you... There's rumors on who is going to replace him. Like they're talking. I mean, name a coach.
Matt
the
Campbell.
Best coaches. Yeah.
Guarantee that name gets thrown out there.
Fuck no, man. It'll be
Sarkisian.
Yeah, so Sarkisian, I bet you is up there. But Texas
Kiffin.
has the money. They'll keep him. They see what he is.
Yep.
Kiffin.
Pete Carroll.
Will be up there. Pete Carroll's now available. Bill Belichick was a name thrown out there.
Oh, there you go.
I think the odds-on favorite on gambling sites is Dan Lanning for Oregon. You know what the funny thing is? Dan Lanning is 3-1. All these coaches that have jobs right now, they'd have to buy out a lot of money, up to 4-1 to 80-1. Bill Belichick. Clinton Dix was 75-1 to be the next coach of Alabama.
What?
You know who was 100-1?
Derrick Henry.
No, sorry, I had to think. No, he's not one of. Jimbo Fisher.
Oh my God.
The guy who doesn't have a job is available, could jump in right now. Not even remotely close, but Clinton Dix, because he went to Alabama and has never coached in his life, he could be the next head coach.
See, you said that. That's why I went to Derrick Henry, because he's not going to be a Tennessee anymore. So,
What about the guy that's on CBS with college football or NBC? Oh, he's a running back. He's not Derrick Henry. What the hell is his name?
Trent Richardson. I think he's available.
His Saturdays are free.
I can't remember his name, but he's he's a Bama running back. It's not Derrick Henry, but
TJ Yeldon?
No.
Chris Collinsworth.
No.
That's
funny. I have it. That's funny though. I have him down in our pod from the agenda because I said thank God Nick Saban's retiring. He is one of 3 people in the sports world that I hope retire soon, and he did it today. The other 2 are LeBron and Chris Collinsworth.
Dave's just got a list on his wall like on Billy Madison. He just starts crossing off names.
Yep. I don't put the lipstick on.
Called that guy.
Was Roy Williams on that one as well? A couple years ago.
Nope.
So,
I didn't have a problem with him Iowa State people.
Yeah. You know who I was just gonna say just to get a smile on Trent's face? Deion Sanders, baby.
Oh yeah, get him out of the Big 12.
Or if he went to Bama,
get him out of the Big 12.
Get him in the SEC.
No, I'm just thinking of a big name like the SEC. You can buy all the recruits like he wants to do. He doesn't need to develop them. He can just buy them.
What if he got that job and he goes to Bama and does the same exact thing as Colorado? Everybody hit the transfer portal. I know you're like the second best team in the nation. I'm bringing my guys.
I'm bringing my Louis.
Bringing my luggage.
And I'm bringing my son.
And then they go like 4-8.
He'd be gone next year. They won't like that.
No.
That has got to be the most daunting job you could ever try to. Hey, just literally
in college football. Yeah,
the all-time greatest in the history. Be the next guy. But fuck no, man.
Mm-hmm.
That'd just be. I don't know. I don't even know. I'm trying to think like of the realistic people. That's where I think it's going to be more like Bill O'Brien. I think they're going to have the rebound guy, have a couple okay, but like they had their Urban Meyer. Now they're going to go to their Ryan Day because they're going to get rid of Ryan Day next year unless he wins the title. At Bama they'll do a couple 10-2 seasons, not like it, or 12-2, and then they'll move on to the real, get Dabo in there. Once Dabo is finally done with Clemson and they're done with him.
Did you see that? I don't know. I was just scrolling Twitter and there was a video. They were asking like, "Who do you want as the next head coach?" And people are saying anybody but Dabo.
Yeah, he's done awful at Clemson. Only a couple titles, and having all the resources, and he's an Alabama man. That would be an awful ad for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like
anybody but Dabo.
It will be nice to see the first 4-loss season for them since Nam, and see these fans freak out on Twitter. It's like seeing there's I think it was a snowy game for the Patriots this year, and there was a guy that was wearing a jersey, a custom made $150 jersey, just said Sadness as the last name. It's like, shut your mouth. You never get to complain about anything about the Patriots being bad in your life. Like, literally, it's the same. You had 6 titles with this man. You don't get to complain about anything in your life,
So I feel so bad for him.
I feel so sorry for him. I want to go put some money in their cups.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people, sadly, are Alabama and Patriots fans, and they're just having the worst offseason of their life?
It'd be rough.
Yeah, they lost Brady a few years ago. Now they lose their champion in Bill Belichick. Now they lose their champion in Nick Saban. All
they're
they
trying
have
to
is
figure out what bandwagon to hop to. Now they're finding a new wagon to go to.
Yeah, like I said, they're hitching to an aging LeBron, or hope that the Cowboys pull something out here. That's their ticket. They hope Dak saves the day.
Good luck.
So, the only reason I want to bring this up is because they'll transition to the title game. But did you guys see the quote, speaking of Alabama, about the sign stealing and everyone does it?
Yes.
Yeah.
For those that might not have heard it, I'm just gonna read this stray that Vanderbilt got in this whole scandal about Michigan and Alabama and everything. And it says, "Look, an Alabama official told me at the Rose Bowl last week, everyone, and I mean everyone, is stealing signs. Michigan is not the only school doing this. Added an industry source, Kansas basketball cheats more than anyone, and they didn't do anything to Kansas. The only pure thing in college athletics is Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt sucks." What a fucking... Imagine you're just any Vanderbilt fan, you're having a good old time, you haven't had to think about football for a month and a half, you're just enjoying life, and someone goes, "Hey, all of the good schools are cheating except for your school, and they fucking suck." And it's like, I know, you didn't have to remind me.
Vandy's catching strays.
We're lucky. That could have just been as easily been Iowa State, Kansas football. Who else has not been relevant? The Stanford football right now.
Mm-hmm.
Except we know they've cheated in the past. So, but let's get on with it so we can give them their roses. Michigan 34, Washington 13. It was a hell of a lot closer game until about the last. I think it was 7 or 8 minutes when they got the first of 2 scores at the end there. But man, I mean, the Big Ten fans have been touting it all year, and I just refused or didn't want to believe it. But man, that Michigan line is legit, and I wouldn't say they were pushing Washington all over, but they controlled the line the entire game.
And they ran the ball well.
Yeah.
Especially in the first quarter. I mean, they went nuts.
That Donovan Edwards, man, like it, and I think some of it was like I don't know if they weren't like anticipating of the run, but both those running backs, we knew Corum was good, and Edwards, I didn't watch a lot of Michigan, but I knew they had a decent backup. They just hit the hole, or they hit the hole, and they were following their blocks. And man, it was like watching the Iowa State Kansas State game, where it was just like big play, nothing, big play. They just, it was incredible, dude.
I would agree. I was a little unhappy with the result, but
oh, absolutely, man.
Yeah, I was talking about it, and Michigan, they were just content to run the ball, and they could. They didn't need to pass, so they didn't. They just Big Ten Washington is basically what they did.
Well, Big Ten East. Then.
Big Ten Easted Washington. Yeah.
Okay. We don't want to confuse anyone thinking that this is a whole Big Ten brand thing.
No,
specifically a top 3 in Big Ten East. Yeah.
Yeah, they just played Big Ten football, and Washington couldn't do anything about it.
Penix had a terrible game too, man, and a lot of that is probably just Michigan's defense. But holy shit, that was like, he still, you know what? Honestly, Penix had an off game, but he was still doing enough, and his receivers are doing their best Chiefs impressions and dropping. I think I counted like 5 or 6 drops. Probably not official one, but my eyes see a football hits your hands. That's a catch.
I feel like they dropped a lot too.
Yeah, and the only thing I could think of was the gif of, I don't know who it is. It's somebody in the NBA when they like chuck up that full court shot and it goes like 30 yards over the basket.
Yeah.
And that's just like what I could think of. Like, oh, Penix has another wide open receiver streaking down the field. He overthrows it by 10 yards.
He had the most beautiful spirals being overthrown. It was incredible. That thing was tight. It looked good, except it went 10 yards over his guy.
Yep.
Every time.
If it had been a duck, it might have went shorter and been complete.
For you guys, when did you think or know the game was over?
Go ahead, Dave.
I think, I can't remember what quarter it was, but maybe third quarter when they have that the last interception there. Was that third quarter that his last pick was? Or was that? I think from then I kind of thought it was probably going to be over, knowing that he was throwing them like that. But I really do think it was like the big lights, the big moment.
Yep.
Michigan's kind of been there before. And
so I held hope longer, I think, than most people, just because I knew Washington can score. They've got a good quarterback. They got that really good receiver. They could score. They could score quick. They were only down 7 in the fourth quarter. But then, when Michigan got that touchdown and to get up by 14, I turned her off and went to sleep.
I watched the whole thing and I held out hope, but realistically, I knew that game was over. You watched the whole first half, and Michigan just kind of ran all over. They didn't have to push it too hard. You saw Washington was just clawing, scratching, fighting for every yard, every point. And the first play of the second half was not even, I would say, well, it was a skillful interception, but the receiver knocks it out of the DB's hands, and he still somehow gets underneath it in that last second interception. That's when I was like, this is over. They could have drove the whole field and they would have tied it, but instead the first play was Michigan intercepted. I'm not going to say lucky because holy shit, the wide receiver played defense on it and the DB still caught it. That's where I was like, this is done. Michigan is just controlling this thing no matter what.
Yep.
Yeah,
that was a hell of a play though.
Yeah. It was a hell of a play, and you want to know how I knew the game was also starting to turn ugly and they were looking for stuff to talk about? Is because for the about 5th time in the broadcast, did you know J.J. McCarthy has mental health issues? Or he used to be depressed.
Did he meditate?
Yeah, he meditated before the game. He does it every game, just so you know. He finds his zen in front of 20 cameramen that are taking pictures and flashing cameras in front of him. That's where he's at peace, all by himself in that moment.
I saw him. They kept showing him talking to their team psychologist on the sideline during the game. They showed that multiple times.
I'm not saying like if he has mental health problems, don't draft him. But that would absolutely terrify me if I'm a professional team and I see J.J. McCarthy, whose whole job on that team this year was to hand the ball off to his 2 stud running backs behind an NFL line, has to meditate and zen and have a psychologist to talk to every single game. He went 10 of 18. Like it wasn't like Penix was the one who needed the sports psychologist to get out of his head and focus on everything. This kid was just like, am I going to be able to hand off right to Blake Corum and then toss it left to Edwards? I don't know, man. Life is depressing. Like, come on, man. You know, it's one of these things I try not to make fun of, but like, you're going to say you're depressed and you were your stud quarterback, 4 or 5-star recruit playing at Michigan, you know, taller, gooder, you know, better looking guy, and your life's tough where you're just depressed. Sure. Okay. You know, I guess everyone's depressed then, you know. It just makes no damn sense, man. Like, sure, you know. But again, if they would just mention it once and be done with it, that's fine. But it was minimum. They're like, we're running out of shit to talk about, and Washington's not making this a game. Yeah, he meditates every day, I guess. What else do we want to talk about? We've already talked about Washington's receivers that keep dropping the ball. They were just out of material at that point.
Yeah.
They should just call the game like an announcer should.
Yeah, just we're done. Broadcast over. Just cut to Sports Center at that point or something. Jim Harbaugh, he's getting tattoos. Did you hear how cool he is? He's getting tattoos.
Whoa.
Oh.
He's going to get 15-0 on his arm or something, or his ass. And he's going to get an M for Michigan, as well as M is the Roman numeral for 1,000. And that's what they passed for total wins this year until they get vacated. Like
this national championship probably will be.
I hope so, man. Like they are the corniest. They got to be one of the worst national championship teams we've seen. Like, because again, we've been spoiled with like Joe Burrow, these Alabama teams with Nick Saban. This team just kind of.
How long do you think it takes?
Right now, I mean, they've already done some of the investigation and they've already taken some of the punishment. That's where I don't know if they can even fully vacate it because they've already accepted a punishment that's been given to them. But if they keep researching it, I mean, it's going to be about 3 to 5 years down the line if they do anything. It's not going to be immediate.
Okay. I was just kind of curious. I haven't really paid any attention to it. I just know that they got caught stealing signs and stuff. I haven't.
Well, there is way more than even just that. Like, the sign stealing is the big one that everyone talked about. But, like, Blake Corum technically should have been ineligible because he had started a business with Connor Stallion. I'm sorry. He started his own business, but it was under the residence of Connor Stallions, and there's not supposed to be any intertwining between the students and the coaches or anything or staff. And here they are, you know, and it's not like, oh, well, it's their residence in Michigan. No, it was his residence in Wyoming for like tax purposes. There's a lot of extra stuff that's out there. You know, I haven't looked at it recently to know all the details, but there's a lot more than just stealing signs. You know, they even talked about like cyber crimes of like going through, because they apparently college football they all use one program for videotaping their practices so they can review tape and stuff. Apparently they talked about a hack like late into it, and they never revealed any information, but I guarantee there's going to be stuff come out in about 3 to 5 years. And if not, then sure, you can say it's legit. I don't think anyone's going to consider this a not title with an asterisk on it. When your coach is out almost half your games because of cheating for different reasons, recruiting, sign stealing, no one's going to believe in this title.
Okay. I was just kind of curious. I haven't been really deep into it, so.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll get a 30 for 30, kind of like USC.
Yeah. I'm sure there will be.
like the Pony Express or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final AP top 25 of the year here. I'm getting it pulled up. It has Michigan 1, Washington 2, Texas 3, Georgia 4, Alabama 5, and then it has Oregon and Florida State tied at 6. Do you guys agree with that? With how they ended the final rankings there?
Florida State could probably drop a little after that pounding they took from Georgia.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's almost punishment enough to have them tied with someone else, and it's not in the top 5. Yeah, you were like 6 or 7. It doesn't matter. Again, that we all agree. It's like you just took your ball, went home, and cried about it. No one's going to feel bad about your whole season now. That's the mentality you had, going into the bowl season.
Yep.
I think they could have just kept it, instead of having a tie, have a 7 and put Missouri up at 7 and Florida State at 8 or whatever, instead of having 6, 6, 8, like put the 7 in there.
I think 7 would be fair. Because again, yeah, they're one. You literally made it the worst loss and the last game of the year, man. Like it's going to be the freshest taste in everyone's mouth.
Yep.
But Iowa, they ended up at 24. They 10-4. Ranked around them is going to be North Carolina State at 21, SMU at 22, Kansas at 23, Iowa at 24, and then Liberty at 25.
Yep.
I mean, the voters got to figure that Iowa can't play ranked teams every week.
They got to be someone.
They got to score points.
I guess. Cool, they're rated. Awesome, cool. It's nice to be rated in the year, but like at the same time, I could have, if they would have left them out, I would have been okay with it.
No skin off your nose.
There's no way that they're ranked in the preseason poll next year, right? No way.
So.
I think they will.
I cannot see them being. If they are, it's 25, like 23, 24, or 25. But I cannot see them really any higher than that.
I'm going to go on a limb because they're going to bring everyone except for the worst part of their offense back. That's Brian Ferentz. They're going to bring back all those starters that come back as well as in defense. I bet you they're preseason like 17-19.
Whew.
Well, I don't believe. No,
yeah, well,
I don't think that.
You might be right, but yeah, Hawkeye Bryant over here. I don't know how you could put him in there
because they got rid of all the.
They're in the bottom 5, top 20 if they do.
Mm.
I really do think at 23 through 25 because I think the writers and everybody will go, well, they bring everybody back, but the not controversy, but the way they don't score.
Yeah.
From previous season is why I think they would be, and with a new OC, a lot of those writers are going to say it's a new person, new system for people to learn. So that's where I see 23, 24, or 25.
Well, if they bring in any notable any notable transfers, and maybe that will be the tide that turns it enough. Like, yeah, that Seth Anderson, I think it was, that Ohio State kid. If you bring in another like solid receiver that couldn't get any playing time wherever else, or a stud G5 player that wants to get into the Big Ten, and with a new and improved offense under insert any name, that's not Brian Ferentz, I think you'd be right up there, dude.
I hear Nick Saban's available.
Nick OC?
Yeah.
He's going, I have the pressure to win the title every single year in my old job. I want the pressure of not being the worst offense in the country type of pressure.
There you go.
The goal is above 5th in the country. Done.
Yep. Be a smart move.
I wonder
good retirement job.
That'd be funnier than shit.
Good part-time retirement job right there.
I'm pulling it up to double check because I'm pretty sure Saban, all his positions were, literally going through the list, he was a GA, and then linebacker, offensive line, DB, DC. And sorry, these are coaching gigs. DB and the defensive coordinator for the Browns. So he's always been a defensive guy. Literally, you could throw Saban in there, run the offense. I don't want to say it would be top 25, but it would be. I bet you it would be incredible with him just knowing 100% of the opposite side of the ball. He would be able to
top
conjure
half,
something up like that.
top half of the NCAA.
Minimum.
They'd go from 16, 17 points a game to 25.
Holy yeah, he would get that. He would win the Gary Potter contract.
Yeah, he would get that stipulation.
He'll make his $1 million.
Not score 25 every game, but may get that average.
I don't know if you could have that many alphas on a sideline. I mean, Kirk, Phil Parker, Nick Saban.
I wonder how many pieces of gum would go through on that sideline with Kirk and
Hellcat and Dodge.
Saban, I know
sales in Iowa City would go through the fucking roof if Nick Saban came up here.
Because I've seen Saban chomp on gum for a good amount of games I've watched.
He a juicy fruit guy or he a big red guy?
I don't know, but
juicy fruit. You like that flavor for 6 seconds?
Yeah,
I like.
And you just
you chew that gum 5 times and it's gone.
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of fruit stripe.
Oh, fruit stripe.
Fruit
stripe gum. Juicy fruit only lasts like 12 seconds.
Who knows? Maybe Nick Saban's kind of in with the kids now. Maybe he's just got a pack of Zen. He just pops one in.
Zenin.
I can see that. How you do, fellow kids, and he just pops one in the bottom. Maybe he horseshoes it or he does an upper decker. I don't know.
He is a big old wad of big league chew.
Oh yeah, he
grape.
There's some video. He was him in his Lambo or something, and he opened the door, and it's funny. It's just this beautiful car on the inside, and then you see a spitter cup in the cup holder, and you see the sleeves of the long cut tobacco in his door. It's like, Jesus Christ, like just typical football coach, man, having to chew in the fucking door.
Got some red man.
Yeah, red man or whatever the hell they are.
Yeah.
But I'm saying we'll kind of keep moving on with championship football here, man. South Dakota State, shocker, they dominated Montana 23-0, or I'm sorry, 23-3. South Dakota State covered 12.5. And the under of 49.5 hits. Trent, how's it feel to be a champion? You've been their biggest
2 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
National champs. Won 29.
I wore the hat that I had in support. So.
29 straight games. It was never a doubt.
Congratulations.
Never a doubt. Now in the first quarter, it was kind of a doubt, I guess. It was 7-3 at halftime, and Montana to start the game moved the ball and just ended up getting a field goal on their second drive. They were at the goal line on their first drive, went for it on 4th down from the goal line, and South Dakota State stopped them. During that first part of the game, I was like, okay, this is the best team South Dakota State's played all year. And they've kind of done this where in the second half, they kind of get rolling and they score points in the second half, which is what happened here. And they just kind of pulled away in the second half, and it was never really a doubt. But yeah, kind of fun, kind of cool to see South Dakota State and a team that I follow win a national championship.
Now, did you ever figure out your homework from the Funcast yesterday? Did you ever find out if there is a victory parade?
I couldn't find anything. I don't think so. The only parades, the only, act like you've been there. Why would we have that? I mean, we won again. Yeah.
Too easy.
Do it. South Dakota State, and they can have the victory parade, the first national championship. Second one, we've been there before. But yeah, the only parades I could find when I Googled like that stuff was all their hobo days stuff for their homecoming. So
yeah,
I think we've gone over hobo days before on this podcast, so we won't go into that. But
you want to give a refresher on hobo days?
Yeah, hobo days is homecoming. People like dress up like hobos and party.
Oh, I'm surprised people don't say that's like money privilege or something, that you get to dress like you're dressing like their culture.
Yeah.
But so I have to ask you an honest question, because I think the Vikings were on the same time. Did you watch South Dakota State or the Vikings on Sunday at noon?
Is that a question? We know the answer.
I did. Which one did you watch?
I'm a Vikings fan. I knew how that game was going to end.
Oh, okay.
Why would I even watch it? So the Vikings still had a chance to make it into the playoffs this weekend. They had to win, and then I think the Saints had to lose, and then the Panthers had to beat whoever they're playing. And you know what? I thought it was more realistic for the Panthers to beat whoever they're playing than the Vikings to actually hold up their end of the bargain.
The Panthers, who have never had a lead at any point in the fourth quarter all season, first team in history to never have a lead at any point, they had a better chance.
They had a better shot of holding up their end of the bargain than the Vikings. So, no, I watched the South Dakota State game. I watched that from start to finish. I didn't really watch much NFL at all.
Trent, you missed out on the celebration.
What one?
For the national championship. They had it yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, for South Dakota State?
Tuesday is South Dakota State had their thing yesterday at 5 p.m. at the Sanford Jackrabbit Athletic Complex.
Oh, I mean, some people got to work, and it was a blizzard, and so.
I bet you that way. Like, yeah, it feels good to be a champion, but also, bet you're like, yeah, cool. This is cold as shit. Look, give me the hell home, man.
Yeah, I didn't need to drive to Brookings in the blizzard either.
No. For the FCS Champions Parade.
I'll go next year.
There you go. When they win and they're undefeated again, another 15-0 to add to that record.
Yeah, that'll be what? 44 straight games.
Yep.
First game of the year, South Dakota State plays at Oklahoma State.
Dub. Easy.
Oklahoma State going down.
Everyone's going to be talking about Oklahoma State being one of the dark horses in the Big 12 with Utah and Kansas State. They'll leave Iowa State out. It'll piss me off. And Arizona. It'll be those four. And then one of the dark horses, Oklahoma State, will lose, and the win streak will go to 30 games with South Dakota State.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yep. When you watch enough college football, you start to see the storylines kind of play out how it's likely going to happen. And if you have to choose, they're starting to get to the level of North Dakota State when it's like when they played Iowa State, and when they played Iowa, it's like we're probably going to lose this one. Like, yeah, we're going to have overall probably a little better talent, but when you're disciplined enough to win 35, 40 straight games, that should put the fear in anyone that like we have to play perfect. Otherwise, this team at a lower level is going to beat the shit out of us because they have more incentive to.
Yeah, I think South Dakota State is going to lose a lot, especially on offense. Seniors, and then some people are even saying the quarterback, he's from Illinois, could transfer to Illinois. I mean, I don't know. It's all rumor, but he's won 2 national championships. I mean, that's pretty good pub right there.
Every team's going to lose players. It's going to be who's the next rabbit up.
Yeah, exactly. Ears up. Does he need to go to a bottom feeder Big 12 or Big 10 team? I don't know.
Nah. The South Dakota State fans, they just need to open up their pocketbook. They need to pay for these portal players. Maybe they can get Caleb Williams to come back another year. Prove that he can win a championship for once.
Yep. All that oil money up here, like Texas.
Caleb Williams never won a title at any level in college. He didn't win a Big 12, even conference title, or a Pac-12 title.
Nope.
And the Bears want to pick him number 1. That's kind of insanity, in my opinion.
Darn it, he won a Heisman, though.
But, next question for you. Is he going to grace the cover of the new NCAA football game?
My opinion is put somebody on the cover that's still in college.
Yeah. You know who I think it's going to be? I bet you if there's odds, I'd put money on it.
Rocco Becht.
By the way, just let us make customizable covers.
That'd be sweet.
You can customize everything else. Buy your limited edition Iowa State one instead of $65, it's $75, but you have a custom Rocco Becht cover.
You buy it. Yeah, buy it online.
That would be sweet, actually, because I'd do that. I'd put like.
You know what we could also do?
Sean.
Just learn Photoshop and just do it ourselves. But I'm technologically illiterate, so I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Just buy it online. You select your team, and then they send you a copy of it. Like, say they have one one player selected from each team to be on it. So, like, Iowa State could be Rocco Becht. Iowa could be, I don't know who they have coming. They could be
Cooper DeJean.
Well, I'm saying like somebody that's going to play next year.
Just put Cade
McNamara. Yeah, I mean that'd be awesome.
I want my NCAA football game to have Jack Trice on the front of it because I'm a real fan, Trent. So.
Well, you need NCAA 1923 for that one. Sorry.
Well, you remember the old Tiger Woods games? You'd have when you played like a moment from like the 1940s Masters.
Yeah.
And Tungsten O'Houlihan, he had a famous one iron. That would be the type of situation I want them to have those classic moments that you can play through again. But I want them to be like, yeah, they have the old Leatherhead helmets. I want some of that stuff in
there. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
I put down that like the feature. I want to see a transfer portal, but only for one time.
Yeah.
I don't want to be playing the college game and seeing the same player, but on different teams 5 years in a row.
You mean like make it
all your rivals?
Yeah. You mean make it like it should be in real life?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like in real life, it's just like you can transfer a second time, but it's like then people get mad when it's like. And you know what it is? It's because the NCAA chooses the wrong ones to put the rule in place for, like the medical redshirt and stuff, or medical like exemption for the transfer portal. I agree. Just make it one transfer scot-free. That's fine. And no matter what happens, because you chose to go, you made a second decision to go to this coach. If they leave again, it should just be, all right, you can stay or you can choose a second one. I mean, I don't know. There's not going to be a fair way to ever do it. But
no.
I think if you're gonna leave a second time, and say you start off at Iowa State or wherever, and you go to Minnesota, and then Minnesota you're like, fuck this, I want to go somewhere else.
Yep.
Well, then you give all that NIL money back to that college.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, I think it's stupid that there are players out there that haven't really had a medical red shirt or any medical exemption that are on their third transfer.
Yeah,
I don't care if they're chasing money. Like a lot of people are like, "Whoa, they gotta get rich somehow, or they gotta pay their college kid." So what? They deserve to. That second college needs paid back. And I don't know if they do that, but if there is,
they don't. Once you have the money,
it's
yours.
Yeah. To me, that's a bunch of horse shit. You're signing a contract,
but
in a way, to me,
NIL money. So in these, what's the word I'm looking for? Not stipulations for the money, but It cannot say anything about you're a football player or on-field performance or anything like that. So technically, I think that would be cluing that, this is for on-field performance if you have to pay it back because you're leaving because of football. Do
you remember Miles Brennan 2 years ago?
Yeah, he got $1 million and then didn't play a snap and he quit before the season started. Yeah, he retired before the season started, and that was all his money.
Raising Cane's had the worst record for choosing athletes. They chose Spencer Rattler, and he got benched halfway through his sophomore year when he was like a Heisman favorite. And then fucking Miles Brennan, he's like, "Oh, did I get my $1 million? Yeah, I'm gonna retire now from football. Thanks." Like 0 for 2, and both were $1 million plus. Just terrible investments. But I want there to be an NIL feature so you can choose like how big of a sponsor, like, Beats by Dre, you get $2 million in NIL money in your career. Or you're going to be like, it would be kind of funny if because it only takes a couple lines, but like in each college, like Iowa State, you got an NIL deal through Hickory Park. Like an establishment close by, and you're like, okay, that more personal feel,
Yeah, I like that.
Wilson Toyota.
Thumbs Mother's Pub.
Oh God.
West Street Deli.
When I go out, the only thing I drink is Mother's Milk.
Drink Tree Frogs at Thumbs.
Oh God, Tree Frog
Oh, man.
Thumbs. My Lord. It almost made me vomit right here and now. I'm gonna have to go back there.
I got off the stool after having one of those, and I almost fell over right away. That thing was like got me hammered and fucked up pretty quick.
God, I haven't been to Thumbs in a hot minute. I'll have to do that and say how do you do to some fellow kids out there, and then walk down the road and get a Mother's Milk and probably call it a night at that point because I'm old and curmudgeons now.
You're gonna fit in with them. This Tree Frog slaps, fellow.
Back in my day.
This is no cap.
No cap.
Hey, is this shit on Fruit Frog? And they're just gonna shake their head and walk away from me. Have you?
But if you drink it out of your new Stanley Cup, though, I think you'll fit right in.
At least with the ladies, I will.
Yeah, bring that in with you. Hey, can you mix my Tree Frog up in my Stanley?
Let's get some Tree Frog in this bitch. Come on.
That'd be awesome.
What other features would you want to see in this game? The only one I can think of off the top of my head is it's dumb as a feature it was. I want to see the mascot game.
Yeah, I like that.
Everyone's 99. It's just a silly fun. I'm gonna play as the Cyclones. You play as the Syracuse Orangemen or Orange now. Can't say men. You can just be the Syracuse
Careful.
Orange, and don't want to get canceled. Herky, whatever. Just I want the mascot in there.
You should play with Western Kentucky every time. Play with the Hilltopper.
Hilltoppers, Big Red. Hell
yes.
Yeah, man. Basically,
Red Grimace running around.
Oh, I'm trying to think if there's any other it was funny because I think it was just a rumor that spread like wildfire, and I'm sure EA was pissed. Everyone's like, there's a rumor that there's going to be a commercial tonight. And everyone's so fucking hyped the whole game. Because eventually the game got bad. And it's like, okay, now I need to see this commercial. Because, this is a bust, unless you're a Big Ten Michigan fan. And then the commercial never came and people were livid. But, I mean, as far as I know, even with all the rumors, July is still kind of like the hard point they want to release this game here.
It'll be fun to go back, or it'll be fun to bring that back and start playing.
Absolutely.
I kind of hope maybe they already do in the old ones because that was 10 years ago or so, or more since I played one. But can you make a player and from a high school and build them up into some type of recruit? Because if they didn't have that feature, they need it on this one. What's that?
You do your career on this. So in 2014, you'd play you'd be in your high school game. I think you'd play one game and then you're in the playoffs, and then you could play I think it was 2 or 3 games, and while you're building up your career and credentials and stuff, and then the title game was in the Iowa arena or Kinnick Stadium, and then you'd play your state championship, and then from there you could choose your colleges.
Oh, okay.
It's not realistic. Should be at the Unidome.
Yeah. I knew I was forgetting something. I want FCS teams back in this because I remember they took them out the last couple years. It used to be you want to play the Citadel versus USC and Reggie Bush. Gee, I wonder who wins this one, and Reggie would just run for 900 yards first.
I'm not getting it if I can't play with my South Dakota State Jackrabbits.
Yep.
I remember.
I hope you're ready for
the
DLC
NCAA basketball games had that.
What's that?
There's an NCAA basketball game I bought one time for maybe original Xbox or maybe for Xbox 360 or something, but you can play as you and I, and you'd be in the McLeod Center.
Yeah, I think it was 09 because I'm pretty sure I had that one. I just didn't really play it, but
was it an ESPN version though? It wasn't like EA Sports. I don't think.
I think
it was like that 2K type, or I can't remember. I'll have to look that up.
Because they also had EA college baseball on that, and I could never do well on it. But they used to have all these sports. So as long as this NIL stuff is passing, I'm excited. I don't know if they have any plans for NCAA basketball, but if football shows that people are going to buy Xboxes and buy that, and there's going to be microtransactions, and EA will find a way to fuck this up. But if they make enough money on it, you can rest assured NCAA basketball will be the next one up. And Caitlin Clark will be on the cover.
Probably.
NCAA 2000 or NCAA basketball 10. So they had it in 2010.
Yeah. I think it was like a North Carolina player on the front, wasn't it?
Tyler Hansbrough.
2010 was Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin was 2010. Kevin Love was 09. Durant was 8. Morrison was 7.
Kevin Love was UCLA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Raymond Felton was 06. Mecca Okafor was 05. God damn, that was almost 19. That was 19 years ago. All right, I'm going to stop reading because now I'm aging myself.
I was going to say, keep going with the list. I want to see how far I wanted to see how many years if you're 1988 we had.
Wilt Chamberlain.
It was 98 through 10.
Okay. Well, either way, I'm excited for NCAA football to be back. I bet you shortly after we'll have NCAA basketball that they're going to see how much money they're going to start making off these athletes again. And remember, like, oh, yeah, a decade ago, we made a shit ton of money every single year on this one game that was almost a carbon copy of Madden. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I would say I'm pretty excited to talk about some. Speaking of the NCAA basketball game, I'm pretty excited to talk about some Iowa State Cyclones here, dude.
Anything happen?
We did over the weekend.
Well, over
the weekend
hours?
we did have a tough loss versus Oklahoma on the road, which I don't even think it affected our Ken Palm or anything. But like you were alluding to, had a win versus number 2 Houston, 57-53.
Yeah, what a good game. Iowa State got out to a 14-0 lead real quick, and I kind of knew, I'm like, this is not going to keep going. Houston crawled back into the game and took the lead in the second half, and Iowa State put that away. Milan, Baby Dirk, that shot, that was pretty.
My pants are tight just thinking about it.
I don't blame you.
No, that shot was incredible. Our guards have been playing very well lately. Like I'm shocked if you compare it to last year's Taman Lipsey and this year. And yeah, he can have amazing game versus bottom 300 or the bottom 50 teams. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. But like they had a rough game versus Oklahoma. They got right back up on that horse. And this Houston game, I mean, it was crazy seeing two teams how tenacious they were playing on defense. And to give props to Houston, man, I thought it was incredible how, like, they're down 14-0. They didn't have any give up. They weren't freaking out. They weren't, like, yelling at each other. They just kept at it. They just kept hammering away. And they just forced their way back into it, man. And it was just a knockout, drag-out. I mean, the last 8 minutes was awful from my side because it's like we could win this. And it was just like we'd score 2, they'd score 2. We'd score 2, they'd score 2. We'd score 3, we finally hit it. They hit a 3. It was just back and forth, a 2-point game the whole stretch of the final stretch there.
Yeah, it was a fun game to watch. Stressful, but we pulled one out. So, and they had that guy who kept hitting threes. I can't think of it. He was number 21, I think. Like every time that ball went in the air, it fell through the hoop for that guy. Did you see it? Their coach, I can't think of his name, Calvin Sampson. Man, yeah. Like his post game. Did you see that? It was weird.
Yes, he was so mad. Yeah. Like, and I understand. Hey, you're pissed, but like everyone was playing. It's like he did not want to give Iowa State any credit. No. He was like, "Yep, tough environment. I was here when Jamal Tinsley was here, and it was tough then." Yep, we just couldn't hit anything. Yeah. It wasn't that we were playing amazing defense. It was all his team lost and not the other team.
Yeah, and he mentioned, well, I mean, one team shot 22 free throws and the other shot 12. It's like, you are talking to the wrong fan base if you want to talk about awful basketball officiating.
I would say you're also talking to a team that sounds. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like an Iowa State excuse.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking free throws are out. But at some point you gotta. If you're the number 2 team in the country with that talent on the team, you gotta pull through.
Yeah.
It was Emmanuel Sharp went 5 for 10 from 3.
Yeah.
6 for 12 overall. But no, they
it's like, hey,
I mean,
but Houston, yeah, let's see. You're number 2 in the nation, your first ever Big 12 road game. Yeah, welcome to Hilton Coliseum. The only thing they could have done worse to him is put him in Allen Fieldhouse.
Yeah. Honestly, you know what the crazy thing is? Like, the more I've thought about it, and we were talking about it at work today, is there's only about 10 to 11,000 fans. So we weren't even 100% at capacity.
No.
But I'm going to tell you, with that blizzard that came through in the snowstorm, the people that were there wanted to be there,
Yep.
and they made sure they were loud as shit, man. And several of the players credited too. They're like, the crowd helped us. Like, on that 14-0 stretch, I thought it was a full stadium until they showed like some random angle at the top, and you saw how many in the upper decks were not filled.
Yeah.
It was like, oh shit! Like, the way it was loud, it wasn't quite shaking like in the Iowa game. But holy hell, they were loud, and Houston, welcome to the Big 12, man. You're not the AAC where you get to play at Southern Florida and Cincinnati, and terrible example. They're going to play Cincinnati.
Yeah.
You get what
Wichita
I'm getting
State.
at. Yeah, you're not going to play at these smaller
SMU.
arenas and just out talent them.
Yeah. So in the past 26 hours, number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 5 have all lost.
Kansas lost to UCF tonight.
Yeah. You didn't watch that? I was watching that. That was a fun game.
No, shit, let me get that. So then Tennessee lost as well.
Tennessee lost, yes, to Mississippi State, I believe.
Number 9, Oklahoma just lost tonight to TCU a few minutes ago. I did see that.
Man.
I mean, this is shaping up to be a fun basketball season, man.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these top teams, there's not the dominant one. To be honest, like, and we've seen it in college football. There's no one true dominant team. Michigan and Georgia were probably the best all year, and they did win throughout. But like, it wasn't like it wouldn't have been unheard of if Florida State won, or Washington, or Ohio State, or you had a list of like 7 to 8. Looking at these these basketball scores, I think with this NIL and transfer portal, there's not going to be a true dominant team going forward. There's just too many games in the season.
Yeah.
Let alone, I'm just saying a dominant team. That you're going to have your top few. I guess I meant to say undefeated. You're never going to have that, I think.
No.
You'd have to have a truly special bring in, have enough leadership of players that came back, plus top talent recruit in depth. And even then, man, I mean, who's the last undefeated team in college basketball?
UNLV. Wasn't it UNLV back in the 90s? They had like Larry Johnson and
the last undefeated basketball team?
Yeah, I think
last undefeated college basketball team.
UNLV, I believe, in 90, 89, 90, 91, something like that.
Wichita State in 2014. Oh, regulars. So 5 regular seasons since 1976. So it was hardly going to happen anyways. And there's only been 7 total in history. So, God, I made a pretty crazy hot take there that there would never be an undefeated team ever again.
Yeah, 1990-91 UNLV. They went. They went 34-1. Did they lose the national championship game?
Was that to Houston?
The last undefeated Anna in 1976. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, UNLV lost I believe it was the championship game to Duke.
Yeah, they lost to Duke and Christian Leitner.
Yep.
So,
how many undefeateds all time did you say there was? 7?
7.
Probably 6 of those were UCLA with Okay, so 4 of those. And like how many of them were in a row? They like went 3 years undefeated in a row.
Two were it was 2 times back-to-back undefeated.
Yeah, that's nuts.
And then I think it was 2 San Francisco teams back-to-back, and that would have been not Wilt.
Bill Walton.
No, was Wilt Chamberlain Kansas? Which one am I getting mixed up? Who's the Oscar Robertson? No, he was Baylor.
Kansas was or
Or I'm getting Elgin Baylor mixed up. Anyway, sorry, this is terrible audio here.
No, this is great.
But yeah, I mean, it was 2 San Francisco and then the Indiana team. Minnesota, where the hell did he play college? College of Idaho?
Yeah, Wilt Chamberlain was Kansas, and then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was UCLA.
Who was...
Who
putting in San Francisco basketball great? I'm trying to think of who the fuck they're... Bill Russell. How the hell did I not... it was right there, and I could not think of it off the top of my head.
How dare you forget that? No, I'm kidding.
Well, I felt bad because it was like, I know this. It's a very common name because you don't just go undefeated for 2 straight seasons without having like an all-time basketball great on the team. But
just 10 guys you've never heard of.
Yeah, just 10 coaches on the team.
Yep.
They bring their lunch pail in,
Yep.
First one in, last one out type of team. No.
How can they all be the first one in and last one out? They all get there at the same time, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's definitely, you don't have a player like a Wilt that averages, what was it, like 30 rebounds a game?
Yeah.
You don't have that on the team. That's for sure.
Nope.
So, I think when we were talking last week about this stretch of Iowa State here, we were wanting to do 2-2 because our next 2 games are going to be Oklahoma State at home and then at BYU, which is another ranked team, and they just lost to Baylor. I'm feeling pretty confident if we play like we did versus Houston. Actually, I'm going to temper my expectations. If we go 1-1 again and we end the stretch 2-2, I'm going to feel pretty good about the beginning of the Big 12 schedule here.
Yeah, that would be good in the Big 12, and I don't know. It's kind of scary that next game versus Oklahoma State after beating number 2. Iowa State always seems to have these emotional letdowns, and then they go lose to this team they shouldn't lose to.
I'm wondering if they already have a line out because if it's a big enough like Iowa State 9.5 point, I might just take Oklahoma State. Not because I don't believe in my boys, but like that is the big letdown game bias every single time
For sure.
And I'm pretty sure when we've had these big wins, it usually is Oklahoma State because they always have their Will Fortes. Marcus Smart was fantastic, but they have these scrappy players that just piss me off whenever we play them because they just, I don't know how they get under our skin, but they manage to be the ones that really mess with us every single time.
Does Naz Long have any eligibility left to play against Oklahoma State?
God, I hope so.
That'd be nice.
I was that famous 3-point shot for for the game winner over Oklahoma State. I was at the perfect angle where that ball, so I couldn't tell if it was going in right. It was just a perfect line going right in and then go straight into the hoop for that win. Incredible.
Never gets old watching that replay.
By the way, I was thinking about this the other day. How incredible is that nickname, Threesus of Nazareth?
Yes, I love that.
I was just sitting here like the double entendre, the meaning he's legitimately good at threes, like chef's kiss. It was one of the best nicknames, at least in Iowa State, maybe all sports ever. No, just Threesus of Nazareth. Make too much damn sense.
I have a little thought process on your Oklahoma State being Iowa State's basketball thorn in the side. I wonder if it's because you guys are the football thorn in their side.
Every single time. Every time Oklahoma State has a championship thought in their brain, Iowa State just comes in right behind them and gooses them. Every single time, man.
Yep. It's tit for tat right now, in basketball.
Yes. No, it absolutely is.
That's what I'd have to
Iowa
say
State,
from an outsider looking in.
Iowa State had a game that was announced by Brandon Whedon, and you could still tell how much he hated us. Like it's like he's trying to be a neutral announcer, and it was like a bad game we were playing versus West Virginia. He's like, "Yeah, these West Virginia, they were just that much better." It's like I can't remember what the records were, but it was just like they are clearly not better. Like it's shitty refereeing, in my opinion, at that point. But yeah, he's never going to be.
It's like halfway through the first quarter, like, God damn it, Jared Barnett, Jeff Woody, God damn it.
Guy was fucking 27 years old playing amateur sports. So get a job in insurance at this point. Dude.
AJ Klein, Jake Knott. God.
Motherfucker. I'll be honest, and maybe it's just the fan in me, but I think it's weird how like when you're watching a sport like that and you're like, is it just me or like I can be, yeah, I think that they're being biased because I love my team. And sometimes I go, I'm not even being biased. I think they legitimately either don't know anything about my team or they absolutely hate them. Because like some of these commentaries, like Tommy Tuberville was terrible when he's done a couple Iowa State games. That Brandon Whedon did. Oh, I'm trying to think of who the hell else was. But it's like sometimes you're just listening to these commentators like, what the fuck did Iowa State or Iowa or whoever else do to you to make you so pissed whenever you do every game? It's just a terrible called game.
Ruined their national championship hopes. Destroyed the BCS.
Yeah.
Made him go to the Browns.
So, I don't know. Anything else you want to talk about Iowa State basketball here?
Let's move along.
Iowa 9-6 right now. They did have a win versus Rutgers, the only game this week, 86-77. They do have a little bit of a tough upcoming schedule. They got to play Nebraska at home, thankfully at home, but they're playing red hot with some Hoi-ball, and then at Minnesota here. Dave, how you feeling about them so far? Or have you watched much of their season?
The Rutgers game was the first one where I've watched more than 20 minutes of it. Based off what I've watched, I'm still just going to go with that Sanford and that Owen Freeman. If he gets on his, I think he's like a power forward or something. If he gets on his game, he's pretty dominant down low. I think like he kind of did some work against those Rutgers players, and then Sanford he just keeps improving, I'd say, but he's very consistent from what I've seen on stat lines. Like you can get 18 to 23 points from him, about 8 rebounds, but that Freeman played really good, I think, the other day against Rutgers. Like I was pretty impressed with his play. So I don't know how they're going to do against Minnesota or the
Nebraska,
because I don't know anything about them. So.
This could be Nebraska's emotional hangover game. They just took down number 1 Purdue last night, so
yeah,
you might catch Nebraska here at the right time.
We never saw that when Hoiberg was at Iowa State. Never ever.
Yeah. God.
I'm not even a Cyclone fan, but it's just weird that Hoiberg coaches at Nebraska.
Yeah, he had connections.
I know, but it's still weird.
Yeah.
Like I figured like Cyclone or nothing really from him. Like I just think it's odd.
Had to chase that dream of coaching in the NBA, and then you fall back down to Nebraska.
But maybe, hopefully, they can. If that Freeman plays really well, maybe they'll do good. That's all I can say about the Iowa basketball.
That Freeman, I think he will be good. He's just young right now. You know, I watched him versus Rob Jones, who is not even the top of the top type of player in the country. You know, and Rob just took it to him. You know, and that was just a senior versus a freshman. I think he's gonna be good, but like you said, you just got to give him time at this point.
I did have something back from the game, not Rutgers, but it was from last week or something like that. Is that point guard that you guys were talking about? I gotta look him up. Is he
for who? Iowa?
Yeah, you guys were talking about a point guard from Iowa, I think. This is how behind on Iowa basketball I am right now. I don't remember who you guys were talking about.
Steve Alford is not your coach. Just I don't know how far behind you are.
Oh, I thought it was that Tom guy.
Tom Davis.
No, not Tom Davis or whatever that. Not Tom Davis, but whoever was before Fran. Tom or Tim or whatever his name was.
Tim Floyd. He was at Iowa State.
Caitlin Clark had her
Tony
9
Perkins.
25 double, most in Division I history.
Yeah, Tony Perkins. I think he's going to be. I think he's a pretty good player. Like, I think he can be pretty good.
Now I got a question for you. Right now, Nebraska is 13-3, solid win on their resume. Now their only losses have been to Wisconsin, Creighton, and this Minnesota team you're about to play. I had to make sure I did have the stat right. Nebraska is the only team, the only power conference team to never win an NCAA tournament game. They're 0-7. Do you think they break the streak this year?
13-3 at this part of the season and being a Power 5, conference team. I feel like that's good because you're playing lesser opponents right now. I mean, they might not make the tournament.
You gotta believe, man.
Maybe Hoiberg's got him going. I don't know, but that could happen.
Are you gonna turn into a closet Husker fan because Hoiberg's over there, Bryant?
Yes,
it's the only reason to like them.
Nebraska has been out of the. I despise Nebraska, but they've been out of the Big 12 long enough, and Hoiberg has been. Hoiberg didn't directly go to Nebraska. He left for Chicago Bulls and then ended back up over there. And we're in a better spot. I got no problem with rooting for him now, but it's definitely one of those. If they lose, I'm not going to be tearful. I'll probably go, yeah, that's expected, and then just move on with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get a bunch of you guys some Nebraska keychains since you're a bunch of closeted fans over there.
The Bug Eaters?
The Bug Eaters.
Oh, I still thought the coach was Todd Licklider. That's who I'm thinking of.
Todd Licklider.
I'm looking at it right now just on KenPom. Nebraska's only got one team outside of the top 100 left, but they have beaten Michigan State, Kansas State, Indiana, and Purdue so far this year that are kind of their top competition. For Nebraska, they've got a top 50 for the most D1. Like they average 2.5 years of experience, which a lot of teams are closer to like 1.5 with starting freshmen, with as many freshmen as they have. So they're top 50 there. They got a decent amount of bench minutes. They got enough people that are playing in. I'm gonna say right now, I think Nebraska makes the tournament, and I think they win a game. They won't go far. They'll round to 32, but that will literally be the best basketball accomplishment in their school's history.
Winning one game.
Right. They'll have the biggest banner in that stadium, Nebraska round of 32 one time.
It'll probably be like one of the play-in games. Won't even be a round of 32. Just to get into the round of 64.
That counts.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. One of the top 68 teams, Nebraska will make it and they'll win a game. Quote me on that. Because if I'm wrong, there's no consequences for me. So what's the worst that can happen? Now, Dave, right now, do you think Iowa has a chance for the tournament?
No.
You don't think so? You don't think they're going to pull it out?
No. I think if they did, like, congrats and awesome, but based off what I know from reading the paper and reading my phone, it seems like a long shot. Like, it seems like maybe not the NIT, but maybe like the fourth invitational down the road. Maybe they'll get there.
The CBI,
like the PlayStation 5 New York City tournament invitational, where it's like 8 teams.
They're show up to this basketball court if you want to, and we'll play it. And it doesn't even have to be your full team. You can just bring 5 of them. They'll just do 5-on-5 freestyle.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
maybe
like an and one Long Beach, California, NIT National Invite Tournament type thing where it's them versus the Long Beach or whoever.
I'm going to propose this for the NCAA. Iowa doesn't have to have a winning record, but if they put Caitlin Clark on the same court as all the men, they get automatically into the NCAA tournament and bump up those ratings. I think that
it would work. I bet that would work.
Yeah. Put her on the court. I'm trying to think of who someone, and they'll play LSU. The men's team, Iowa and LSU will play, but they have to have Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark playing all time.
I like it.
I bet the ratings would go through the roof with that.
It's coming together here, man. And then they flip a coin on who the coach is going to be. Both coaches have to be there, and they right before the tip off, they flip a coin and go, all right, I guess it's Lisa Bluter. You're in there. McCaffrey, you're out. Let's just make it as chaotic as possible.
I think a lot of Iowa fans would rather have Lisa Bluter coaching the men's team.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know what would be funny is if you had Fran on the sideline and then you had the Malarkey or whatever her name is on the other side.
Kim Mulkey.
Mulkey, whatever.
Yeah, sorry. You're 100% right.
Fran, you know how funny that would be? You'd have the red-faced Fran getting pissed, trying not to lose his shit, but then you'd have her on the other side trying not to lose her shit.
The female version of him.
Sounding like a fucking hawk. She just squeals on the sideline, man. Just squawks out there. I'm liking this. We'll get the fine-tuned notes of this, but when Joey comes in next week, we'll see how he feels about this matchup. Because I think a lot. I'd watch it.
I like it
for the sheer. How is Angel Reese going to compare to an average Iowa men's forward, and then how's Caitlin Clark going to do versus the men? Because from what I've heard, when she was in high school, she practiced against the men or the boys team, and she pretty much dominated them.
I can see that.
I can see that happening.
So, well, anything else you guys want to chat about, or should we wrap this thing up early?
Let's wrap it up.
I want to go back real quick.
Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Your FCS dream scenario thing about the games?
Yeah.
You know what I think? Do it on a Friday and Saturday night light. FCS gets the Friday night lights, and then keep the college football on Saturday. But both of them obviously both of them, but FCS gets a college game day crew as well. But and put that game in a larger stadium, but close off some of it because they're not going to fill up an NFL or a larger stadium. But put them in the Phoenix Cardinal Stadium and block off the upper half or whatever, and let them play on a Friday night because they are the little brother to the to the college football playoff, and then have them.
No, they're not.
Play on set.
We have a real national championship in the FCS. There was actually 24 teams. You have 4 in FBS.
Oh, well. But that's what I think. Do a Friday and Saturday night lights thing type deal. No more Monday and Sunday bullshit. Just
do them
Friday and Saturday.
Both on a Saturday.
Oh, a doubleheader, yeah.
FCS game at 1, FBS game at 7. Both on one day.
That'd be nice too.
On Saturday.
You have both games in. The thing I just don't get is how is the NFL encroaching on Saturday? Why does NFL get Sunday and Monday night football, and then all of a sudden the NFL goes, actually we want Saturday now. You can have the Monday night for. No, I don't want fucking Monday night for the title. I want the title on Saturdays, like every Saturday I've been going this whole fucking season. Play it all on Saturday, and you have enough time to do your game day in the morning for South Dakota State, at that point. And then you have enough time to do a preview and game day for Michigan, at that point. Just I don't get the pushing one game on Monday night and one on Sunday when NFL is playing. That's where I legitimately had to ask, are you watching the Vikings? Because there were 6 NFL games they had to compete against.
Yeah.
And they wonder why they're not going to get ratings. It's because you put it against the toughest competition. I'm pretty sure of the top 50 or 100 events on television last year. I'm pretty sure minimum 90% of them were NFL games. You're you're setting it up to fail. Is all you're doing.
You're putting a game against somebody like a company, entertainment company, who owns a day of the week.
Yeah,
they
exactly. And you own Saturdays. Just it makes no sense, man.
Do you think ESPN dictates that though? Because the game was on ESPN. No, it wasn't. It was on ABC.
Yeah,
but still ran by
Yeah,
ESPN.
it's part of the ESPN family.
They're probably like, what else are we throwing on ESPN and ABC on Sunday at 1 o'clock? Because the NFL ain't on it.
Yeah.
It's got to be probably something to do with setting up these stadiums well in advance too. But like, I don't know. I just think it's so dumb you don't have it specifically a national championship day.
Why don't they have it at the same conference or at the same stadium like they do for March Madness?
Oh yeah, top 4 teams. How many Montana, South Dakota State, Washington, and Michigan fans would be intertwined where they do a half jersey, one bright blue, one maize and blue?
I don't know, but have tickets for both. You can't just have one ticket, but have tickets for both games. So if you want to go see the one, you can. If you're really rich, you'll get to see both.
If I or Iowa State ever made the national championship, I don't know how low those tickets would go, but I don't even know if they'd fill that state. Those are like $3,000 for tickets to get into that game.
Yeah, I saw a lot of them were like 2 to 3.
How do you get away with murder like that, charging that much for a title game?
Yeah.
That is insane, man.
I don't think I would go.
No, I'd watch it on TV.
Yep.
So, anything else, Dave?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, let's wrap this thing up here so we can put a nice bow on it. I do appreciate everyone that joined us live here. If you do like it, make sure you like, subscribe, share with everyone so we can keep doing these. Well, I'd say we'll continue on through the basketball season, of course, here, and then we'll catch you next week.
See ya.